Many people may not know menopause increases your risk of developing diabetes. This is not often explained in other videos. It's a delicate matter, so if you can't consult with the people around you and ignore the signs from your body, it could lead to serious problems. Hello, thank you for watching the video. Not recognizing the signs of menopause and the changes in your body that occur after menopause can lead to serious problems. I was in charge of a woman in her 70s who was admitted to the hospital. She had been working healthily without any illness until her 60s, and there were almost no problems even in her health checkups. Such a person slipped outside, fell and broke her femur and was admitted to the hospital for rehabilitation. The rehabilitation was progressing smoothly, and it was when she was practicing walking. "Doctor, my chest feels heavy." She was saying something like that. I thought that chest pain was a bit of an unpleasant symptom, and if it was a symptom of heart disease, I thought about what to do and checked it. As a result, she had angina pectoris, where the blood vessels of the heart were narrowed, and she was in a state just before a myocardial infarction. In fact, this patient had been pointed out to have osteoporosis and high cholesterol around her 60s, but she retired at the age of retirement, and since then she has not been examined, and this time osteoporosis has progressed and fractured. The high value of cholesterol is also related, and heart disease has also developed at once. In fact, these two diseases are largely related to the changes in the body after menopause in women. When women reach menopause, the hormone balance in the body changes drastically. Ignoring your body's warning signs regarding this delicate issue could increase the risk of future bone fractures, becoming bedridden, or developing life-threatening conditions like myocardial or cerebral infarction. That's why it's important to address it. This time, from the standpoint of an active doctor who usually receives consultations about premenopausal symptoms and changes in the body after menopause, I will explain it simply and easily. If you watch this video, you will understand what those who are approaching menopause should be aware of in the future and how they should live their lives. Menopause typically occurs around age 50, with the 5 years before and after, from 45 to 55, considered the menopausal period. Disorders during this time are referred to as menopausal disorders or menopause. Some people have a negative image of these words. However, this menopause visits almost all women. We live in an era where life expectancy is 100 years, and 50 is a turning point. The word menopause means change and rebirth. Women are at a turning point in their lives, heading towards a new step. It's a time to rethink and improve your life and health. If you can improve your health during this time, you can enjoy and live a healthier life for the rest of your life. So please listen until the end. That being said, I will now explain the bodily changes before and after menopause in simple terms. I also want to address common concerns that many people have. The sudden bodily changes caused by menopause. I will present 3 changes. First, I'll discuss the physical changes that occur during menopause. As mentioned, menopause typically occurs around age 50. Therefore, we call the period from 45 to 55 menopause, but in fact many Japanese people have early menopause and some even start at 40. On the other hand, although rare, some do not start until they are 55 or 60. Symptoms of menopause include hot flashes, excessive sweating and the resulting embarrassment. Such symptoms as hot flashes are well known, as well as not being able to sleep at night or getting irritable and depressed. And then you might suffer from dizziness or headaches. These various symptoms are well known, but do you understand why these menopausal disorders occur? If you remember the reason, you'll be less likely to forget. A woman's body has special organs, the uterus and 2 ovaries on either side of it. The function of these ovaries gradually decreases with age. As a result, the hormone called estrogen, which is released from the ovaries, gradually decreases. When this female hormone, estrogen, decreases, the human body does an interesting thing where the brain recognizes that estrogen has decreased and issues an order to produce more estrogen. This order actually causes a dissonance in the brain and triggers various menopausal symptoms. As an image, think of the brain as the boss and the ovaries as the subordinates. The subordinates' function decreases with age and they can't do their job, so the boss gets flustered and says, "Do more work." In that way, it gets flustered and starts, and as a result, our bodies around us start to get disordered. That's the kind of image it is. Because of the orders from the brain, the autonomic nerves get disordered, leading to the symptoms I mentioned earlier. You can't sleep, your hands and feet get numb, your joints hurt, and you get hot and sweat a lot. Menopause can cause irritability, depression, dizziness, and headaches. These symptoms make it difficult to continue working and interfere with daily life, even making it hard to do housework. This is called menopausal disorder. This menopausal disorder is causing a lot of women to suffer. The loss to Japan due to menopausal disorder is actually in several billions of yen. That's the kind of perspective. If you have these symptoms, it would be good to get a diagnosis. Please first visit a gynecologist. Check if these symptoms are really due to menopausal disorder, and if it is menopausal disorder, you might have hormone therapy or Chinese herbal medicine or injections called placenta. If you find it a bit of a hurdle to visit a gynecologist, you might consider consulting your regular hospital or a nearby easy-to-visit hospital. Depending on the hospital, they may conduct an examination or prescribe Chinese herbal medicine. I think there are also hospitals that can introduce you to an appropriate gynecologist. For detailed videos on how to treat menopausal disorders, please see the description section. Menopausal disorders are symptoms that occur over a period of about 10 years around the average age of 50. This occurs when the female hormone called estrogen decreases due to a decline in ovarian function caused by aging, surprising the brain and causing it to secrete hormones that produce estrogen. However, as mentioned at the beginning, the changes in the body due to menopause are not just this. The change in this hormonal balance called menopause is the trigger for changes in various parts of the body. In this regard, I will introduce the 3 changes in the body that you absolutely want to know about due to menopause. The first of the 3 changes in the body that you absolutely want to know about before menopause is that your bones become fragile. You've all heard of osteoporosis, haven't you? In fact, 1 in 5 women in their 60s has osteoporosis. This osteoporosis is a disease that is increasingly common in postmenopausal women. It's 2 to 3 times more common in women than in men, and by the time they reach their 70s, 1 in 3 women has osteoporosis. Therefore, early countermeasures are important. You might wonder how dangerous it is for your bones to become fragile. Fractures are the 4th leading cause of being bedridden. If you fall and break a bone due to osteoporosis, you could end up bedridden. There's that kind of risk, so what can we do to prevent osteoporosis? The most important thing is exercise. It's understood that bones become stronger by giving them the right amount of stimulation. Simple exercises like raising your heels and dropping them, even if you do it putting your hands on a table, are good. So, squats are a good option. Just by doing exercises like lightly bending your knees and lowering your waist, it's understood that your bones can become stronger. It's okay to do this while cooking or watching television, so try raising your heels and dropping them. Giving your bones a stimulus, it's important to keep this kind of awareness. Another important thing for osteoporosis is a nutrient called vitamin D. This vitamin D is what we take in orally and becomes the source of our bones. Vitamin D is an important vitamin that helps absorb a nutrient called calcium. Therefore, while calcium is important for us to strengthen our bones, taking vitamin D along with it becomes crucial. Sunlight is essential to activate this vitamin D. So, by combining exercise, you can strengthen your bones and activate vitamin D by doing light jogging outside or taking a walk. Do you know any foods that contain a lot of vitamin D? Recommended foods include salmon that is sold everywhere, eggs and mushrooms, which are said to be rich in vitamins, so please eat them proactively. And there is the most important thing, that is to get tested for osteoporosis. In the guidelines for osteoporosis, it is recommended that postmenopausal women be screened to check for the absence of osteoporosis. If you don't have osteoporosis, you don't need to get tested every year. It's okay to do it at a pace of once every few years to check if osteoporosis is not progressing. I recommend that postmenopausal women check this out. If osteoporosis is diagnosed, medication to strengthen the bones will be prescribed as needed, so taking such medication also becomes very important. Now, the second change in the body that you absolutely want to know before menopause. The second risk is that the risk of myocardial infarction and cerebral infarction increases. Actually, these myocardial infarctions and cerebral infarctions are more common in men. From the age of 40 to 50, men are overwhelmingly more common. However, after women reach menopause, the proportion of women gradually increases. What a surprise! By the time they reach their 70s, the risk of cerebral and myocardial infarction in men and women is about the same. Why is that? Actually, it's due to menopause. In fact, due to hormonal changes, women's cholesterol levels gradually increase. Actually, why are there fewer cases of myocardial infarction and cerebral infarction among women in their 40s and 50s compared to men? It's because this hormone called estrogen, a female hormone, was processing this low-density lipoprotein, or bad cholesterol. As menopause approaches and this process decreases, the risk of these diseases gradually increases. Why does the risk of vascular diseases increase? Here there are blood vessels and blood is flowing through them. Inside the blood vessels there is a blockage of oil called plaque. Actually, this blockage of oil is bad cholesterol or low-density lipoprotein, which is a fat. By transporting oil through the blood vessels, a blockage of oil forms in the vessels. When it grows larger, it can either get stuck or break, causing a clot, which is a blockage of oil, to fly out, leading to disease. This is broadly referred to as arteriosclerosis. Estrogen has been processing this bad cholesterol, but when this function decreases, women who are going through menopause become more susceptible to oil sticking to their blood vessels. That's the current understanding. When we look at the data, compared to people with total cholesterol levels of 160 to 180, those with levels from 200 to 240 have a 1.5 times higher risk of heart disease. Furthermore, those whose total cholesterol exceeds 260 have nearly 4 times the risk of their heart vessels becoming damaged by disease. Therefore, it's crucial to keep cholesterol levels from not rising, and the key to that is diet and exercise. As for exercise, it's recommended to do aerobic exercise that leaves you slightly out of breath but still able to chat with friends. If you can manage this level of exercise about 3 to 4 times a week and for about 30 minutes each time, that's ideal. However, it's not always possible to exercise that much, is it? So even a little is good, so please try to start exercising from what you can do. And then, actually, the oils in fish and nuts are known to help lower cholesterol levels in your diet. Fish oil contains docosahexaenoic acid and icosapentaenoic acid, which have been known to be good for the brain for a long time. Fish, which live in cold seas, don't solidify their oils, do they? In short, fish oil is a type of oil that remains liquid. There are studies that suggest that by consuming this type of oil, cholesterol levels can be lowered and mortality rates can be reduced. So it's definitely worth changing your diet from one that's mainly meat to one that includes fish such as mackerel, sardines, and horse mackerel. Switching your snacks to nuts when you feel hungry can help lower your cholesterol levels. Detailed videos are explained in the description box, so please take a look. Essential bodily changes to be aware of during menopause. The third one is that your risk of diabetes increases. Menopause makes it easier to develop diabetes. This is something that many people may not know. It's not often explained in other videos. In fact, estrogen is secreted from this ovary. The female hormone called estrogen has the effect of helping the hormone called insulin, which lowers blood sugar levels. Therefore, women who have estrogen are more likely to have insulin secreted in their bodies, and because insulin has the effect of lowering blood sugar levels, they are less likely to develop diabetes. However, when estrogen decreases after menopause, blood sugar levels can begin to rise and the risk of developing diabetes, even if they would not have developed diabetes before, can increase. And that's not the only reason. Interestingly, this estrogen is also related to body fat. In fact, when estrogen decreases, it becomes easier for body fat to accumulate. Our bodies have two types of fat, subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. The stomach of someone with a lot of subcutaneous fat feels soft to the touch, whereas the stomach of someone with a lot of visceral fat feels hard to the touch. If this visceral fat accumulates too much, it's like oil sinking into the organs, and the hormone insulin, which lowers blood sugar levels, doesn't work well. Therefore, it becomes easier to develop diabetes. To put it simply, when estrogen decreases, the function of insulin deteriorates, the risk of diabetes increases, and it becomes easier for visceral fat to accumulate, further deteriorating the function of insulin and increasing the risk of diabetes. For these two reasons, women's risk of diabetes increases when they reach menopause. This is what I talked about at the beginning. The woman in his 70s who had developed heart disease also developed diabetes. This diabetes is not just about raising blood sugar levels, it also increases the risk of diseases where blood vessels become clogged, such as myocardial infarction and cerebral infarction. Please look at this graph. This is data from Japanese people, but hemoglobin A1C, to put it simply, is a value that represents the average blood sugar level. When this exceeds 6.5%, it becomes a diagnostic criterion for diabetes. As you can see, when this hemoglobin A1C exceeds 6%, the risk of developing a disease where blood vessels become clogged doubles. In other words, when blood sugar levels rise, the risk of blood vessels becoming clogged increases. Why is that? Why do blood vessels get damaged when blood sugar levels rise? Imagine there are blood vessels here and blood is flowing through them. For those with high blood sugar, it's like having excessive brown or granulated sugar in the blood vessels. It is understood that the glucose in the blood vessels attacks the walls of the blood vessels. This is called oxidation, and by causing stress to the cells of the blood vessel walls through oxidation, the blood vessels become damaged. As an image, think of it as if there are shards of glass flowing in the blood vessels, and these shards are hitting and damaging the walls of the blood vessels. It's easy to understand if you think of it that way. So what should we do to detect diabetes early and prevent it? Actually, diabetes often has almost no initial symptoms. By the time symptoms appear in the body, it is often already advanced. In this situation, I have compiled a video in the description to help you become notice of the symptoms, so please take a look. And the important thing for early detection is a blood test at a health checkup. It's simple to check, so if you're worried, please have a health checkup or a blood test to check if you're not diabetic. This can be done at a regular internal medicine clinic. How was it? That's the summary up to this point. The term female refers to the season when you enter menopause, a period of cessation known as menopause, in the total 10 years around the age of 50. Due to this, the body's hormone balance changes significantly, leading to menopausal symptoms such as hot flashes. Symptoms such as headaches, numbness in the hands, joint pain, etc. appear, and other symptoms such as brittle bones, increased risk of fractures, increased cholesterol levels leading to heart and vascular diseases, and poor insulin function leading to increased blood sugar levels and increased risk of diabetes. I explained that. And to strengthen the bones, exercise is important to stimulate the bones, and to activate vitamin D, you should sunbathe or take vitamin D, specifically by eating fish, eggs, and mushrooms. And the important thing to lower cholesterol is to do a little breathless exercise regularly. Even a little is good, so please try it, and it has been attracting attention recently. I also introduced data that the oil of bluefish and nuts lowers cholesterol. Regarding diabetes, it is difficult to detect early based on the symptoms of the body, so I recommended blood tests such as diagnosis. How was it? I think there were many unexpected changes in the body due to the menopause. I think there were many contents that make you anxious, but it's okay. By learning such things properly and detecting them early, you can prevent the onset or reduce the risk before the onset. I also introduced specific lifestyle habits and recommended foods to prevent this. At YouTube Medical University, we are broadcasting videos that support your health in this way, responsibly and easily understood from the standpoint of active doctors. Let's live a lively life by learning the correct knowledge at this pre-disease stage before developing a disease. Please tell me in the comment section that I have reached menopause, I had this kind of experience, this kind of thing is anxious, this kind of exercise and food was good. If you have such a thing, please tell me in the comments section. And it's okay to have a good button or a bad button for this video, so if you can evaluate it, it will be a reference for the next video. If you thought this video was good, please. I would be really happy if you could register for the channel. Well then, see you again. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you for watching.